Question number 364, T.R. Baluji.
Sir. House, sir. Sir, question number 364, sir.
माननीय मंत्री जी,
Statement is laid on the table of the House, sir.
माननीय सदस्य, supplementary question.
Sir, the National Council of Applied Economics and Research, on its report, has stated, if you invest 1 lakh rupees, there will be a job opportunity for 2.6569, and out of that 2.65 will be informal and 0.04 will be formal. And another NGO financed by European Union has also surveyed 4,382 homeless in 15 cities, including Coimbatore, Chennai, and Madurai. Out of that, the report says, out of 5, 3 are homeless. That means 60% of Indians are homeless. In this scenario, what is the future plan of action by the ministry? Is it possible to complete everything, to provide homes for the homeless by 2022, as you said in various papers, budget, everything? So the honorable member has raised two important, but I think separate issues. One is whether the central government's Prime Minister's flagship program of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana can achieve the target of a home for every Indian citizen, wherever he or she might live, by the target year of 2022. That is one question, and I'll answer that. The second is the two studies, one study that the Honorable Minister has named in terms of, cited in terms of the job-creating effects of construction of homes. Sir, the study that the Honorable Minister has quoted actually relied on employment data, which, where there was a methodological flaw in terms of what constitutes employment. Sometimes if you do a construction job, it creates employment, but whether the employment is for 20 days or for 300 days is different. So the study that we rely on is a study which was conducted in the year 2019 by the NCA. The NCA is the first one which we have conducted, which is in the answer, which shows that for construction, the jobs created are as follows. This is the National Institute of Public Finance and Policy 2019.
माननीय सदस्य, बातचीत नहीं करें.
Every investment
सदन
of
में
rupees 1
प्रश्नकाल
lakh.
के समय कोई बातचीत नहीं करेगा.
Every investment of rupees 1 lakh in housing sector creates direct employment for 54% days and indirect employment of 108% days. Now, if you look at the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana overall, sir, the scheme was introduced in the year 2015, June in particular. At that time, the demand assessment which was done said that we would have to produce 1 crore homes by the year 2022. And subsequently, when the scheme was implemented, that figure was revised upward to 11 crores and 3 lakhs or so. By the month of December, sir, we had already sanctioned 10 crore and 3 lakh Pakka homes under 4 verticals. The target has already been met to that extent. The operative thrust of the question, however, is on property-less, whether owning property and poverty, whether there's a correlation. Sir, I must submit to the August House that the data on ownership of property and issues of poverty are not maintained by us. I don't even know whether the state governments, but what we can, I can share with the honorable member that under 2 of the flagship programs of the central government, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, I've already shared, We have a target of earlier 10 crores, now 11 crore, 3 lakhs. We have already sanctioned 10 crore, 3 lakhs homes in that. 62 lakh homes have been grounded and are being implemented. 32 lakh homes have already been handed over. So we are well towards achieving the objective of that. So in other words, 1.2 crores. I'm sorry, correct myself, it's 10 million. It's 10 million and 1 crore, not 10 crore, 1.2. We have already sanctioned the bulk of that. My expectation is that the last meeting which was held of the Committee for Monitoring and Sanctioning of Projects in the month of December, they approved 6.7 lakhs homes in that. We have not had a meeting since that, but by the time we have the next meeting, either towards the end of March or April, the entire thing would have been, quota would have been sanctioned. And I'm also confident that well before 2022, all the homes would have been given to the beneficiaries. Now, clearly, under two of the verticals, beneficiary-led construction and credit-linked subsidy schemes, it is direct because the beneficiary already either has a house which needs renovation, or the beneficiary goes to the bank, housing bank, gets a loan because he's already acquired a property. But even under affordable housing in partnership, I think this will be completed within the next year plus, well before 2022.
The government is relying on 2011 census. So that is why the figures are not updated. First of all, the government has to update how many homelesses are there throughout India. And I want to specifically ask one question. Government has targeted for 3.98 homeless to provide homes. So far, for the past 4 years, they have provided 91.86 lakhs in rural, 32 lakhs in the urban. The gap is 2.74. Only 2 years or less, 2 years left. Within 2 years, is it possible to see that 2.74 crores homes are constructed and delivered to them? It's all 2011 census, sir. They are not updating the figures. However, at least you answered for 2.7, how you are going to fill up this gap?
I have provided the honorable member relate to the urban sector. Insofar as the rural sector is concerned, where the figures are much larger and the construction of homes is also much larger, my senior colleague Shri Hardeep Singh Puri will provide the answer. As far as I'm concerned, the homeless in terms of beneficiaries, the demand assessment here was done by the UTs and the states on themselves. It was not based on the 2011 census. Even today, this is a scheme operating under cooperative federalism. It is the state governments which have to do it. And this data is not available with the central government. If the state government comes and tells us they need more, I am very happy to give, for instance, the Tamil Nadu figures in terms of the urban sector, which are the latest which I have got. A total under CLSS, 42,113, in situ slum rehabilitation, 4,880, affordable housing in partnership, 1,50,423, BLCS, 5,75,798, and the Tamil Nadu total is 7,73,000. Now, if the Tamil Nadu government comes and tells us that their demand assessment needs to be revised, we would react to that. But today, we are operating on a revised demand assessment, which is not based on the 2011 census, but is based on figures provided by the states and union territories to us.
Shri Shashi Tharoor.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, the minister's answer mentioned a few numbers, but one number he doesn't, he did say that his ministry doesn't keep poverty numbers in track, but the fact is that we all know that the total wealth of the 63 Indian billionaires exceeds the entire budget of the government of India. So the fact is that we are in a situation, so where 73% of the wealth generated in our country went to the richest 1% of our population, whereas 67 crore Indians, who are the bottom half of our population, collectively contributed 1% of the national GDP. In these circumstances, sir, it's very clear that the gap, the inequality gap between rich and poor in our country can only be addressed by specific inequality busting policies. So my senior colleague, Mr. Balu, who asked about homelessness. So the question is actually totally relevant because the argument is that unless you equip the poor with the tools to break through inequality, the kind of figures that I've given, whether it's crores or millions, will remain an issue. So the question is, to what degree? Your ministry used to be called Urban Poverty Alleviation. The name has been changed. The fact still is,
माननीय मंत्री जी,
what extent are you going to poverty alleviation through your housing schemes? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Sir, I would like to share some information with the Honorable Minister. Apart from the history of this ministry, which started as housing and construction, Honorable Member, well, you know, that's a slip of the tongue. He used to be a minister. Acha nahi. Former minister, honorable former minister, a colleague of mine in the university. Let me not get into that. Well, the ministry started at housing and construction in Shri Merchant Khanna ji's time. It went on. Poverty alleviation was one of the issues, and poverty alleviation continues to remain one of the focal areas. And we have the National Urban Livelihood Mission also as part of this. Look, if we are to draw a correlationship between different policies which we are following and what was done earlier, let me give you a few statistics. In the 10 years of the Congress-led UPA government, between 2004 and 14, the entire expenditure on the urban space, which is the value of the urban missions of the Congress-led UPA government, was 1,57,000 crores. In the 5 years of the Narendra Modi-led NDA government, the figure is 6 times higher. It is of over 10 lakh crores already. So let's not get into that. Insofar as inequality busting policies are concerned, I can give you the figures under NULM, where we have 43.7 lakh women in 4.5 lakh self-help groups have been helped on skilling and employment. 3.4 lakh self-help groups have received a revolving fund. 10.6 lakh candidates skill training. But I want to go from those individual schemes to the overall what's happening. Whether it is the Swachhta Mission or Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, the idea is to reach the benefits of development to the poorest of the poor. And therefore, when you provide housing under the economically weaker section, EWS, or the lower income group or the medium income group, and you provide a total of 1.12 crore homes, I think that is a inequality busting policy. In over and above what we need to do, yes, the state is doing it in a number of ways, and inequality is being addressed. But the issue is, the thrust of this question is on property ownership. Property ownership and poverty, these measurements are done by the state governments, not by the central government.
N.K. Premchandan ji.
So thank you very much, sir. Sir, the core of the question is housing project for the propertyless. The basic issue which we are facing is, though there are so many centrally sponsored and state-sponsored schemes, for the housing schemes, unfortunately, most of the people do not have the property to construct the home. I would like to ask a specific question to the Honorable Minister. In the state of Kerala, we are having a life mission project, by which construction of multi-storied flat buildings are being constructed and providing that housing scheme to the propertyless poor people. Whether the government of India will launch a program of housing scheme whereby those people who do not have the property. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, data on property, ownership of property or lack of property is not available with the central government. What we are doing under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is to take the figures provided by the state government and try and meet the demand of the state government. In the state of Kerala, let me share with the honorable member the figures we have. Under CLSS, or Credit Linked Subsidy Scheme, 13,443 beneficiaries. Under In situ slum rehabilitation, 2,118. Affordable housing in partnership, 488. Beneficiary-led construction, 1,14,529. Total for the state of Kerala is 1,30,578. Now, my understanding is that these figures which have come and which are the implemented figures for Kerala is slightly different from the other states, because Kerala does not have the kind of demand, I suspect, under economically weaker section as some of the other states. And therefore, these private-public partnership projects which the honorable member is mentioning, we can, it's a government program, they are free to apply. They are free to apply for either a credit-linked subsidy scheme, that is an interest subvention, they can go to a housing bank, get the loan, or if they have traditional homes of their own, they can ask for a grant under beneficiary-led construction. But over and above this, if there is a new scheme that the government of Kerala wishes to propose, they can always do that.